sit back and relax. It's time for your daily dose of Big D energy.
Morning when I wake up. What they say doesn't bother me. No man can never make me feel any type of way for not doing what they want me to do.
You're a bitch.
So,
Does that work?
Huh? I almost said something
work?
about your beautiful mother, but she's a lovely lady, so I'm not going to say
That
anything.
doesn't faze
Watch
me.
your
Say
mouth.
whatever you want.
Watch your mouth, Fish. If I come in there and I throw you through that fucking glass.
That's
All right.
fine. Do it.
Huh.
Yeah! The GOAT is here!
He's back. Samuel Fish Fisher. I did not expect to walk in and see you in here today, but I think I can speak for everybody when I say I am happy that I have. Kenji, I see him just walking into the building, but for the first couple of minutes, we've got Sam Fish Fisher. How does it feel to be back in the building, man?
Fine. Nostalgic, I guess.
Absolutely. How could you not have a little nostalgia?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
You wake up this morning, there's snow all over the ground.
Yes.
You're feeling like, oh, God, it's supposed to be spring. This sucks. Today's awful.
Oh, yeah.
I'm driving here.
You gotta drive slow, by
take
the
me
way.
50 minutes to get here. On the
my
way,
fault.
I spin out on Woodward. I'm like, man, this day sucks.
You're going too
I still got to
fast.
drive to the east side after this. I'm like, today sucks. All of a sudden, my little 5'1" friend comes sauntering through the door.
5'4", I think.
5 foot, whatever the hell
5'4",
you are,
5'.
Fish. And KG coincidentally says, you know what, I'm late because of traffic, and the roads are bad, which we understand, KG.
They are.
And there's one man who can man the sound booth to start the show today. The one, the only, our very first intern at Woodward Sports, Samuel Fisher.
Hi.
And
Tell us about how life's been, Fish.
Oh, it's been good.
People want to
Been
know.
great.
People need updates.
I mean, it's just sports, and more sports, whether it's watching or working, so nothing's changed there.
Someone just put
And
$20 in the chat to
it's-
buy you lunch.
Wow,
Shout out Ryan's
wow,
reaction.
Ryan's
reaction.
I guess I'm eating lunch then. Didn't know.
No, that goes to our bottom line. Thank you.
Ah, yes. Well, that's fine.
Somebody buy this man a pretzel.
somebody.
Fish, I need a sumo update. I saw you were watching sumo the other
I was
day.
watching sumo. It's going well. And, yeah, I mean, how do you not? Great sport. Stick knows about the sumos.
Me and Fish have had sumo nights at the Casa in White Lake. He's come over. We watched in the basement, played darts, and watched sumo.
How do you not?
It's a fantastic evening if you guys ever want to come over. Somebody in the chat is asking, Mark Haller wants to know, did you ever cash your bonus check or your signing bonus?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did that a while ago.
Okay, good. So anybody who doesn't know, Fish was our intern for, what, like 6 months, 8 months, free? Just
Yeah,
whatever,
6.5,
coming
7,
in, working. He manned the sound booth for 3 shows, and we're like, you know what, Fish, we want to pay you, first of all, but we also want to give you a nice signing bonus for the work you've put in. And we had a nice presentation. Everybody was in the picture. They came in here. We gave Fish this big check.
I still have that saved in my phone, by the way.
Months went by. And this dude did not sign a multi-$1,000 check. Like, Fish just has checks lying. He's the Neil Rule of sound booths. Speaking of Neil Rule, Oakland University last night. We're going to talk to Neil today at 11:26.
11:28.
11:28. All right, I certainly cannot wait to get to that. And Fish, it's people like you, and I know I wasn't here from the ground floor, but you sticks certainly were, and I think you'll echo this sentiment. Woodward would not be where it is today without Samuel Fisher. It's people like him. He was one of those just dogs / pit bulls that just came in and worked harder than anybody. Did 3 shows back to back. When I first got here, I was actually the one that relieved him on a couple, and you were the one, Fish, that actually taught me everything I know in the sound booth. So it all goes back to Fish.
You are the Obi-Wan to his Qui-Gon.
Fish is like the how many degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon or whatever.
No, the Fish family tree, it continues to grow here, and your legacy is, I mean, we still have a poster of you in the back.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
I don't know if I've seen it.
Hey, our very
I
own
guess I'll have
Matt.
to go back there and see it.
Our very own Matt Broder. Fish is Amik Robertson.
He is.
Hey, coming from me and coming from the heavyweights, that is a big time compliment. Freddie Felt 313. Of course, proud OU alum, go Grizz. Of course is Neil Rule's famous call when Oakland hits a 3.
And they had a lot of them.
Well, one person definitely had a lot of them, and we're definitely going to get into that a little bit more as the show goes on. But what a win by Oakland. A 14 seed defeating a 3. That's probably going to be one of the biggest upsets in this tournament, and one of the biggest upsets that I think any team in the state of Michigan has had in any sport. It was absolutely spectacular to watch. I mean, I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'll just ask you guys. It was one of the most exciting college basketball games I've watched this year, the year before. It was electric.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, they were going back and forth at the end, just hitting shots, and that's what you want to see at that level. And I was thinking about that while I was watching the game and after. Oakland won that game.
Yeah.
Like, they won that. They went out there and won that game. They made those big shots. They did the right things in the right moment. It's not like Kentucky handed to them, because Kentucky was hitting their big shots too. Step back three-pointers, like just going nuts on the court. So you got to feel good if you're Oakland. It's not one of those fluky games where it was like, oh, well, Kentucky just wasn't doing their thing. Oakland did a great job in the way they defended them, but, I mean, what do you do when a guy shoots 10 of 20 from downtown? 10 of 20.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. That's one of those things that Oakland had to – if they were going to win that game, they were going to need a performance like that and an absolute choke job from Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd, by the way. 2 projected top 5 picks went a combined 2 of 13, 3 of 9 from 3. Who would have thought that Jack Golke would outplay those 2 by himself? Those are the type of things that needs to happen when crazy upsets happen.
I loved his quote, too.
Yeah.
Like, listen, he's dude's 24 years
Yes.
old. He's like, I'm not going to the NBA. Those are a bunch of NBA prospects, but I know when we step on the court and we play our game, we can compete with anybody. And that comes with being a 24-year-old, right? Going up against 18, 19-year-olds. He's seen it all. And it also reminded me, sometimes when you see that little 6'2" dude step in the rec gym and you're like, oh, this guy can't hoop. That guy could put up 90 in a rec game. And like, those are the types of basketball players that are fun to watch. We see it all the time. They come out of nowhere. Remember Jimmer Fredette back in the day? They know they're not going pro. Jimmer did for for 3 seconds.
Levels.
For 3 seconds. But yeah, he had a Jimmer Fredette type of moment. And to do it on the biggest stage, you love hearing them talk about Oakland University from Rochester, Michigan.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks Oakland, California, honestly, when you see Oakland playing. So for them to put him on the map, Campy, 40 years at a job. Like, I knew Campy'd been there a while.
Yeah.
When you see it on the screen, when you see 40 years doing anything is being alive 40 years is tough. Yeah. Like, having one job for 40 years is absolutely insane. You just got to hand it to Oakland University. It's such a big moment for them, and it's only going to help with recruiting. You see Rocket Watts making his transfer over. You see them build a cool program, and I'm just excited about what the future is. And I love we're not Cinderellas. Like, we deserve to be here. Love that mentality. Love the post-game interview when Campy was talking. He was just like, hey, we got about 24 minutes to enjoy this. Then we're on to the next game because our job's not done.
Not to be the wet blanket, but they most certainly are Cinderellas.
Boo.
What?
Boo.
They are Cinderellas. Literally. And why does Oakland get to usurp just basically say like, no, we're not Cinderellas, but we talk about George Mason, who made the Final Four, a team like Florida Atlantic, who made the Final Four, Loyola Chicago. They're all Cinderellas, but Oakland, a team that won one tournament game, impressive as hell, the greatest sports moment in school history. They most certainly are Cinderellas. They're the dictionary definition of Cinderellas.
No.
Come on. This is Greg Campy's literal first tournament win in the round of 64. He'd been there. They've been in D1 for 25 years.
He's been there 40 years.
I'm just saying, they are the dictionary definition of Cinderellas. And by the way, that's okay. That's okay. I know.
Give them their due, Flannel Sam.
I am giving them their due.
Give them their due. Fish, would you call them Cinderellas? Let's use Fish as the deciding factor.
Wow, I mean, they kind of are, sadly.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, what sucks about is Michigan State won yesterday.
Yes, they did.
And no one will talk about them because of Oakland.
We will.
So
We will.
that kind of sucks.
But, I mean, a 9 beating an 8 isn't Oakland beating Kentucky.
Well, right,
Yes.
but it's impressive that Michigan State won. I mean, they weren't on a super good run.
They played well.
So, yeah, they did play well.
I mean, it's Izzo time. Are
Well,
you expecting
right.
Michigan State to fall on their face in the first round?
I mean, they were the 9 seed, so clearly, if they were great, they'd be the
We're talking
1
about
or
Oakland
2.
right now, Fish.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. We gotta give Michigan State their props. Where's Michigan at? They're sleeping at home. They're sleeping. They're not in the NCAA or the NIT. They just say they're not even good.
No, they're horrible. Worst Power 5 team in college basketball.
They
And
didn't
I've
win in
owned
football,
that, and they did, and I would take that trade, by the way. But it was still so painful to deal with this college basketball season. So painful to see Spencer Raxter being locked into a game, knowing that I didn't have one to be locked into. So congratulations to MSU. We'll talk about that a little bit more.
The Cinderella thing. Let's get back on that. Honestly, I think you got to win one more game to be considered a Cinderella. A one-round upset isn't a Cinderella story. You know, to me, the teams that go to the Elite Eight, the teams that go to the Final Four, those are the Cinderellas, the VCUs.
Yeah.
Those are Cinderella stories. A first-round upset is a nice win, but I love their mindset that they weren't standing there like, we did it, we beat the world, we won the championship. They were like, man, if we could beat Kentucky, doesn't matter.
yep.
You know what? I don't mind that premise. When he said that we're not a Cinderella, if that's what he meant, I agree with it. Because, you know, I gave you the examples. We consider Loyola Chicago a Cinderella. We consider Florida Gulf Coast of a couple of years ago, who made a Sweet 16 as a 15, a Cinderella. We consider even a team like Fairleigh Dickinson, who beat Purdue as a 16-1, a Cinderella. My thing is that Oakland, while very impressive, if you want to say they're not quite good enough to be in the realm of Cinderella yet, I will agree with that.
Oh,
James Quinn says, how do you not? Welcome back, Fish, and gave another $20.
I did not.
Oh, man.
Man, Fish.
Oakland winning, how do you
Have you
not?
ever thought about being a stripper, Fish? You're getting a lot of just random 20s thrown at you today.
No interest in being a stripper or going to a strip club.
That's the one place
That's
I
fair.
could never convince.
Yeah.
I
Nope.
got him to go to a club though,
Club
didn't
club.
we, Fish?
We did. Went to, is it electricity?
electricity.
Electricity.
Oh, man. Throwback, man.
Fish, can I get you into Legends by any chance?
Probably not. Very slim chance.
Oh,
Slash,
yeah.
no.
Yes, Detroit Arrows. Sorry, but Flannel is right. Y'all are just being homers.
Boom.
That's all I'm saying.
Why are
That's
you
all-
cherry picking the comments?
Because I've read so many where people are trashing me. Come on.
Also, is this the first time we've had 3 Sams in the
I think
at
so.
one time?
The Three Sam show.
The Council of Sams.
That's why we gave Fish his nickname, because I was like, I'm not going to be
Yeah.
someone yelling Sam all the time and turning around. Ooh, I love this comment by
sometimes
Cody
do that.
Engel. Is Neil Rule Oakland University's sister Jean?
Ooh. I mean, he did wear the salmon jacket.
I mean, I'd
And
bang
they
both.
are undefeated. I'd bang them both too. Especially Sister Jean put Michigan State in her Final Four. She'd get cracked out for that. But Neil Rule wore the salmon
back
jacket. They're undefeated in the salmon jacket this year. So
Yeah,
you got to
and-
keep wearing it.
And I believe if I got my teams right, that NC State, they wouldn't have made it. They had to win their conference tournament. And I'm not saying that that's going to be it's not going to be easy, obviously, but I saw Freddie Felt 313 say that Oakland could be this year's Butler. I mean, that's a little aggressive, but you just never know. To be a Final Four team. You know, that Butler team that had Gordon Hayward, some guy we may have heard of.
Best
They
part
got
about
Trey
Oakland,
Townsend.
best part about Oakland winning is nobody can hate on Oakland.
Flannel already is.
I'm not hating on Oakland.
No, I mean, like, as a school and a community, like, who has a bad thing to say about Oakland
Well, no
University?
one knows where it's at other than people from Michigan.
Right. And they turn out hot chicks, and Joey Namath went to school there.
Shout out.
Shout out to Joey. He's a proud Grizzly.
Yeah, and I never hated on Oakland. That's all. That's it. That's all. I just said that the whole they're not a Cinderella thing. They most certainly are.
Boo.
Most certainly are.
Fish, are you sticking around, or are you just covering the first segment?
First segment.
So, would you like to address the people?
Your final goodbye.
Just thank you for being supportive of me, and go watch some basketball. We got basketball in about an hour. Should be some good games again today.
Well, I'd appreciate it
Your
if you
brackets
ask
are
them to watch
busted.
our show instead of basketball.
Yeah.
Oh, it's called multitasking.
Boo.
Everyone has something called a cellular device.
Fish, what?
You either do the basketball on the cellular device, or you do the Woodwards on the TV, or you do vice versa.
Who'd you pick to win the tournament?
Who did I pick? North Carolina.
Okay.
Always a solid
I
choice.
put North Carolina and Marquette in the Final Four, which is not going to happen.
Ooh, North Carolina.
But I just knew that you couldn't do all 1 seeds because that's boring and that's probably not going to happen.
It's true.
So I had to mix it up.
People are requesting you to do your hump dance.
No.
Come on, one more time.
One more,
Fish.
just one.
Just
Why?
one. Just a quick
For the
one.
ladies. For the ladies.
I don't think any lady wants to see a 5'5" sports 3 a.m. nerd do a.
Oh.
Yes, they do, Fish.
Fish,
Yes.
fish,
Fish, fish, fish, fish, fish, fish, fish.
Hey. God.
Fish, you're the GOAT. The snow sucked, but coming in to see
did suck.
Fish, it just made my day.
It's like rocket fuel for me. Seeing Fish come in, it's just like, hey. But if I'm too amped up from seeing Fish and giving him a nice big bear hug and then doing a great show, where could I mellow out? Dispo. Visit Dispo Dispenser today for exclusive new deals and experience a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere, mixed with fresh inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. Save the date for 420 at Dispo Dispensary. Dispo is putting on epic events at all locations. Stay tuned for more details. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories, some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy, you're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports. Every year, after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party. It's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest.
Well, you just heard it. Grand Slam Fest. Well, how do you not? Grand Slam Fest is the best day of the year. It's my favorite day of the year. It is opening day. And if you haven't been down there partying with Woodward Sports, this is when I am in my element. If you want to see Prime Spenny, you will come out to Grand Slam Fest. Friday, April 5th, starting at 9 a.m. It's in the Detroit Opera House parking lot. You can get your tickets at GrandSlamDetroit.com, or we're winning some away, or we're giving some away on different shows throughout the week, so make sure you stay tuned. Our guy 313 Kurt won some on the heavyweights, so make sure you guys tune in. Grand Slam Fest, Friday, April 5th at 9 a.m. Be there. How do you not?
How do you not?
How do you not?
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam. Today we've got Sam Stick Day. To my right, we're filling in for Neil Rule and Darren McCarty. Neil Rule's got another NCAA tournament game to call tomorrow.
In the salmon.
In the salmon. Got to be in the salmon. We've got Spencer Raxter in the TD booth and KG in the audio booth. Thank you, Fish, for filling in for the first 15 minutes.
KG walks in. He's like, what the hell
Yeah, I'm
is
like,
going on?
this white boy?
Hey.
I'm like, y'all replacing me now? Like,
No.
Like, it was that quick, KG.
that fast, man. But no, it's nice to meet the legend that called Joink a big to his face and lived to tell the tale.
Yes.
No, that was one of the best moments in Woodward
That is my
sports
favorite
history.
piece of content that Woodward Sports has ever put out.
Yeah.
I certainly cannot disagree with
Also,
that.
him reading the Kevin Durant text.
Oh, God. When we were talking about Kristen Harper's pillows, and he thought we were actually talking about pillows.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That was a good one.
Fish is the GOAT.
Hey, Fish absolutely is the GOAT. And every time you see him out or when he's on a show, keep calling him the GOAT. That man needs to like stop selling himself short on camera even. But you know what? He's doing great in his professional and personal life, and he's the same Fish that I've known since the day that I met him.
You're
So,
never going to change that man.
Never.
He
Never.
still eats
Yeah.
chicken fingers everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot knock him off his pedestal and what he does.
Hey, and you know what else you can't knock off their pedestal right now? Oakland basketball, of course, because no matter what happens in the rest of the tournament, they still got this upset win over Kentucky, the greatest moment in the history of the program when it comes to sports.
Per Greg
At least.
Canty. He said it. We have the video of him saying that.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You know, in the press conference, they asked me about would this be the greatest win, and I said for the school, but not for me, because of Michigan and my parents and then and all that. I was wrong. It's the greatest win in my career, Oakland's career, everything.
It's not even close. Taking down a blue blood in Kentucky, John Calipari, like I said, a couple of potential top 5 to 10 picks on the other side for Kentucky, just an absolutely monstrous win. And as I said before, when you're a 14 seed and going up against the 3, you're going to need some outlier things to happen. I understand that Jack Golke, it's not like he was a scrub or anything. He was a 3-point specialist all season long, but 10 for 20 in a tournament game?
And he missed his last 2, right? He was 10 of 18 at one point, and he missed his last 2.
Yeah.
So it was even better shooting percentage than that.
32 points on 50% 3-point shooting. You had Trey Townsend give his usual 17 and 12. Hey, you had DQ Cole with a clutch, a money 3-point shot with about 28 seconds left to put Oakland ahead by 4 when it looked like Rocket Watts was kind of just dribbling to nothing. There's DQ Cole, ice water in the veins, and that was basically the difference in the game. So an absolutely phenomenal win. And as I said before, and to the victor go the spoils, and if you lose and you're a 3 seed, I got to call you out for this one. Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd, John Calipari, and if you want to say, oh, you're being too harsh on freshmen, they get paid. And tell that to Anthony Davis, Jahlil Okafor, Derrick Rose, Carmelo Anthony. I'm just saying, these couple guys are probably going to be top 5 to 10 picks. And they had Antonio Reeves play a hell of a game. And Dillingham and Shepherd were too busy shooting 2 of 14. So just kind of a bit of a choke job by your 2 best NBA prospects, even though they are 6th and 7th men. And Jack Golke with the moment of his life. He's going to be able to tell this to his kids, his grandkids, when he probably is just working a regular job someday. But he had an amazing moment. 30 points in the tournament. I think he's one of 4 or 5 or 6 players to ever have double-digit 3-pointers in a game. Yeah, this 4. Guy, 4, one of 4.
One shy of the NCAA tournament record. 11 is the record. So he was one shy of that. And, you know, I think Campy, in the quote that he had about, you know, Michigan, that was the biggest win because of his family and all that. I think it's one of those things where you don't allow yourself to like hypothesize what it would be like to beat Kentucky. And then once you finally beat a Kentucky, you're just like, oh my God. Like, then you start thinking about the history of Kentucky. Yes. Mm-hmm. Then you start looking at their head coach and who that was. Then you start looking at their roster and it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. But this is exactly what makes the tournament great. You have small schools that have team-like players that fit systems, because that's all the school like Oakland's going to recruit. They're never going to get the number 1 guy in the nation unless he happened to grow up in Rochester and just wants to go to Oakland University. His dad went there. Something off the wall like that. But this is what makes the NCAA tournament so great. You have adults almost, 24-year-olds, going up against freshmen who were in high school last year. Yeah. And on the biggest stage, when the lights are the brightest, those reps matter. And, you know, being in different situations matter, because the minute they were down and then they kept staying down, they never were able to get over that hump. That pressure just starts to build. Then you start looking at each other. Then you start playing selfish basketball, and it just kind of all unravels from there. And with that being said, they had enough talent to hang with Oakland the entire game, even though they weren't clicking, right? They were playing well, but it's just so crazy. Talent versus team. And team sometimes wins out, and that's what happened last night. It's a beautiful thing to see, because it doesn't really happen that often at many levels.
No, it certainly does not. And Chuck Brewer brings this up. Sam, this isn't even the worst loss for Kentucky in the last 5 years. 2 years ago in the tournament, they lost to St. Peter's as a 2-seed. Or was it 2 years ago or last year? Whatever one that it was. That's also a pretty bad loss as well, a very bad loss.
Wait until Purdue loses to a 1 seed or to a 16 again
There's
this year.
No way, right?
I mean,
hey, it could happen.
When they don't get the foul calls from Big Ten refs, they turn into bums. So.
Hey, all we can go off of is past trends at this point. KG.
Yeah.
What was your take on the Oakland Kentucky game? How excited were you watching it?
Man, it was absolutely amazing. Jack Golke lost his effing mind. Hitting those 10 threes. I think at one point they said he was guarded by 4 or 5 different players just in the first half alone. So you love to see it, man. And just I'm excited for how far they can actually go. But the tournament always produces stories every year, so that's one good thing about the tournament. I know I said that the tournament was dying. I still kind of feel that way, but you love to see stories like that of small schools getting over Blue Bloods of all teams. So yeah, man, shout out to Oakland, man. Shout out to Neil and everybody there. It's a great group of people, and just looking forward to what they do next.
Shout out to the Horizon League too.
Yeah,
you know, selfishly, I went to University of Detroit. The Horizon League is part of it. They won one game this year, so they're not even close to Oakland. But what that does for your league too is big, because you know, you can maybe get some better transfers now in the portal and stuff like that. If they're like, oh, this league they can play with Kentucky now, so the ripple effect. It's going to be cool to see. We got Neil Rule coming up in what, 3 minutes?
3 minutes, yeah. And shout out to Greg Campy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Greg Campy. He deserves this. This is a guy, if you've ever met him, he's the coolest dude you'll ever meet. Very down-to-earth, cool guy. One of the best coaches in the business. Like you said, 40 years.
Right.
40 years at Oakland. Like, that is insane, man. So shout out to Greg Campy for getting that first win in the tournament.
Well deserved.
And hopefully they make a run, because I'd love to see it. They deserve it. And my guy Trey Townsend, too. I know everybody's talking about Klonke, rightfully so, because he went off. But my guy Trey Townsend was business as usual, double-double in there against the vaunted SEC big men, future Spartan dog Trey Townsend.
And it was cool to see his dad courtside shooting film, too. Like, his dad was a registered photographer for the event, and watching your son beat Kentucky, getting all those pictures, all those memories.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I love about sports, right? Like, we can talk stats, but it's the storylines behind all this stuff that really sells it to me. The best reality television there is sports.
Hey, but
period.
But also, me being a stats guy, Jack Golke, 10 of 20 from 3. Dillingham and Shepard, 2 of 14 from the floor for Kentucky. That's how upsets happen. And congratulations to Oakland. And you know what? You can listen to us talk about Oakland all that you want, but coming up next, who do you really want to hear talk about Oakland basketball? Of course, Neil Rule, the man, the myth, the legend, the radio play-by-play man for the Oakland Grizzlies. He had a hell of a call last night, and if you didn't get a chance, I believe it's all over social media. Listen to his final call of Oakland actually winning the game. It'll give you goosebumps. It most certainly gave me goosebumps. But you know what else? If you need defense, Guardian Alarm, of course. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
The new Glorious Ice Water Bubble Hash Pre-Roll, now with diamonds, constantly pushing to create the best cannabis experience. The perfect boost comes from the added touch of pure THC diamond dust, allowing flower with only the highest terps, making the best even better. Glorious Cannabis, check us out at your local retailer or gloriouscanna.com. Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. Friday, March 22nd, the day after Oakland's big upset win over Kentucky in the first round of the NCAA tournament, the first round of 64 win for head coach Greg Campy in his 40th year as Oakland head coach. That man does not look like he's been coaching 40 years anywhere.
Yeah.
He looks like he's like 55 years old.
It's all that Diet Dr. Pepper.
It's all that Diet Dr. Pepper.
Silver Fox.
He definitely is the Silver Fox. And you know who else you can argue is the Silver Fox, but has kind of maybe gotten a little bit too much shine, I would say? John Calipari's overrated. John Calipari is 100% overrated.
Talk about it.
You can't have that happen last night if you're Kentucky. It's not just that, though. It's not just that, bro. 3 seed.
Don't bro me. Fucking bro me.
Hey, a 3 seed losing to a 14 seed.
That's bad.
2 years ago, a 2 seed losing to a 15. In 2021, they didn't even make the tournament. Did you guys know that John Calipari has had 4 teams with at least 3 number 1 overall draft picks that did not win the NCAA tournament? 3 of them didn't even make the Final Four. He usually has the most talent, but he always falls a little short. I mean, remember that team with like John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, Patrick Patterson? They didn't win the NCAA tournament. The team with Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, Trey Lyles, Willie Cauley-Stein, they didn't win. They were undefeated, and they lost to those rats from Wisconsin in the Final Four. Although that team did have Frank Kaminsky.
This is a tournament. That's what happens. It's a one-and-done game. It's a any given Sunday scenario. I mean, they're like we talked about. These are 18-year-old kids. You know, it's the tournament. I don't know. Yeah. Like to me, tournament coaching is what they're supposed to be there for. But Calipari's a Hall of Famer. He's a good coach. You can't take anything that he's accomplished away from him just because they've won 1 tournament game in 4 years.
Yes.
That's what the announcer said last night. Yeah, and I think if you ask him, he'd say that's a failure. But come on, man, it's a tournament game. Upsets happen all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure Kentucky fans are just like, upsets happen.
I don't give a shit about Kentucky fans. I'm not one, so I can be objective.
Right.
Like Maddie.
I wouldn't say overrated just based purely off of how much NBA talent he's pushed through. But I do understand recency bias. He has not been that great. So I do get your point there.
Neil's calling in.
Neil's calling in. Hey, and I know Neil will probably disagree with me on this John Calipari take, but that's all right. We've got more important things to talk about. Just let us know when he's on, KG. But yeah, that 2017 team made the Elite Eight with De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, and Bam Adebayo. That's not good enough. He always has some of the most NBA talent, but almost always falls short. You know who we should be thanking his lucky stars for? A guy that everybody hates, Anthony Davis. But anywho, speaking of...
Did you think the Fab Five was a failure? Steve Fisher's a failure because he didn't get it done and had the most talent?
Steve Fisher's not a failure because of 1989. But yeah...
So 1 year makes him not a failure, but it does for Calipari?
That's what I'm saying.
John Calipari has had, I told you, 4 teams that have had at least 3 first-round draft picks that did not win the national championship.
Yeah, but that's one player, man. It's a team game.
3. I gave you 3 of 1 and 5.
Just because you have the best player, one best player, and everybody else is not as good. Like that's how this works.
I specifically said that because it was more than 1. It was at least 3.
So answer my question. Steve Fisher, Fab Five, failure.
They should have beat North Carolina. Duke was not a failure because Duke was better. They should have beat North Carolina. They 100% should have. They were the better team. That was a failure.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what happens in the tournament. And just because, down the road and, with the parity of college basketball, it's not like it was back in the day where, honestly, when we were growing up, or when I was growing up, because I'm older than everybody in this room, it was just UCLA is going to be there. Like that,
the same 5 or 6 teams.
Every year, it was just the same programs over and over. Now you see each and every year, like AAU has changed it, NIL has changed it. All these kids going to smaller colleges, and you just see a different game than it's been. So to me, it's a lot harder to win a national championship now than it was back in the day when I'm at North Carolina. I know I'm getting Eric Montrose for 4 years, and players are staying all the way through college. It's so hard to put together, assemble a team cohesive in 1 year with a bunch of dudes who've been catered their whole damn life. They don't know how to become a collective, and then they go out there and they get their ass beat by a team like Oakland, who's been grinding it their whole lives because they're the underdogs. They're 5th-year transfers, so they're 24 years old. So I mean, I don't hold it against Calipari. Should they beat Oakland? Of course, that's what the numbers say. But
a 3 seed losing to a 14,
it happens every year. Happens every year.
That's absurd.
It happens every year.
Ball wash them a little bit more. Stick. But anywho,
how is that ball washing?
That is ball washing. That is ball washing. That's literally dictionary definition of ball washing.
What did I say that was ball washing? That it's harder to win a championship now than it was back when you could build a team?
Since John Calipari has been there, UConn's won multiple, Duke has won multiple, Villanova's won multiple, and UNC has won multiple. Kentucky fancies themselves as better than all of those programs, but they're not.
It seems like you have a vendetta against Kentucky, not me or Calipari.
I think that Calipari is overrated.
I think
100%.
he has a vendetta against Calipari. But
Yeah. Is Neil on the line?
We got
yeah,
Neil
we do
Rule.
have Neil. Yes.
Yes. Hey, how's it going, Neil Rule? How does it feel to get to announce another NCAA tournament game after a win over Kentucky?
Anybody deserves their ball washed. It's Neil.
What did I walk into here? What is going on?
We're delirious in the snow, Neil. But how you feeling after last night, being able to call that historic moment?
No, it's been pretty cool, and it's been one of those things where it's a magical moment for Oakland. I'm happy for this coaching staff, everybody here. I'm happy for these guys, these players, and really everybody that's played a big part in this. You have to be, right. I mean, there's no other way you can feel because you've been with these guys and you've been through the battles, and you see what they go through and you see what they've been doing, and that's really it, and obviously, Jack Golke and Trey and Blake and all the guys too, you're happy for them because, they did it and they were on the national stage. And I'll say this too, this wasn't luck. Like Oakland wasn't lucky. This wasn't like a comet that went across the sky. Oakland was better. For 40 minutes, they were better. They held the lead for 28 minutes of the game. They out-rebounded Kentucky. They did everything. And like the people that talk about Jack Golke and say, oh, that was a magical night. Jack Golke's done this before. Sam Flannel, I know that you're big on stats. Here's a stat for you, brother. In the last 25 years across Division I basketball, the NBA, the WNBA, 2 times has a player come off the bench and attempted 20-plus three-pointers in a game without attempting a two-pointer. Both were Jack Golke this year. February 8th against Northern Kentucky, yesterday against UK. This is what he does, man. He's a volume shooter, and it wasn't magical. So, last night when he told CBS and he said, "We're not a Cinderella," that was a dominating performance by Oakland. It was, man. They held the lead longer. They out-rebounded them. They were the better team.
Oakland
it
won
wasn't
that
luck,
game.
Man. They were better.
They won that game.
Period.
Right.
Kentucky didn't lose it. Kentucky didn't lose it.
Right.
Oakland took it.
No, Flannel, that's what we talked about before.
Flannel.
You didn't disagree with me, but now when Neil says it, you're disagreeing with Neil?
No, but Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd, 2 projected top 5 to 10 picks, did choke 2 of 14 total, and Jack Golke, as much as
yeah,
they did. They did.
And you know why that was, Flannel?
Defense.
You know why that was?
2 of 14.
The zone defense, dude.
Yeah.
They couldn't deal with the zone. They couldn't get a clean look. That's exactly why. Rocket Watts is a great defender.
Hell yeah,
a great defender.
No, that's 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. That's fair. But Oakland had a lot to do with it. But back to Jack Golke really quick. So I understand that you said you've seen it before. He's a volume 3-point shooter. He 100% is. Look at his numbers throughout his entire career. All this man does is take threes and make threes. But even you, who've watched every dribble of his career, could you have foreseen 32 points on 10 of 20 from 3 in an NCAA tournament game? He's a tournament legend for life now. Did you foresee that?
No, who foresees that? I'll tell you who did foresee it, and I talked to the man. Jack Golke foresaw. Hey. There was nobody, and you want to call it irrational. This man lives his life with an irrational confidence. It is. I hope that people in their lives feel the way Jack Golke feel when they go to work or when they go to do something, because you saw it in the press conference last night. He said, when I walk out there on their court, look, are 7 dudes on this floor going to go to the NBA that Kentucky has? Yeah. Am I going to go to the NBA? No. But I can compete with these guys. And he did. I mean, that is a shining example. And Stick, I know you're big on this, man. Mindset. When you walk out on the floor, when you have a mindset, it can take you places, man. It just can.
Yeah, his comments after the game, just like I said earlier, we were talking about that. Listen, I'm not going to the NBA, but I can ball with any of these guys. And Neil, you'll love this. Like, he's the type of dude in 5 years where you're playing in a rec league and he just shows up and drops 70 on your head, and you're like, who the hell is this guy? And then you hear the legend,
and he loves it too.
Right?
Yeah, and he loves it. Like, he'll live for that. I can't wait for when he's 35. And he goes and plays in a rec league because he'll want to kill everybody out there, because that's just the way that he is. He's a great dude, man.
The biggest question I think on everybody's mind, I know Spenny and I were talking about this, the salmon jacket. Are you wearing it tomorrow?
It's the only one I brought, man. I wore that in the first game against Purdue Fort Wayne in the Horizon League quarterfinals at Oakland, and we won. And our assistant coach, Michael Covington, shout out Pontiac. Cov's another reason I can go anywhere in Pontiac. I'm the Meek Mill of Pontiac because of DQ Cole and Mike Covington, man. Those are my guys, man. I just drop that name when I'm in the Yak, and they love me like that. But Coach Covington told me we were walking out of walking off the floor up to the press conference room after that game, and he told me, he's like, Neil, you got to wear the jacket again. So I brought it to Indy, and I wore it in the semifinal game, and we won. So then I wore it in the championship game again, and we won. And then I wore it here, obviously, and we won. And this was the only one I packed. So there was no rotation. And guess what? If they win tomorrow and we go to Dallas in the Sweet 16, it'll be the only jacket I pack again.
That's right.
Stick. Hey.
That's mindset. That's mindset.
That's mindset, Stick. That salmon jacket, though, I don't care who you are. That's fire. I don't care who you are. That jacket is fire.
And Neil, do me a favor. I know everybody's giving Golke his credit, for due reason. He deserves it for sure. But it was just another day at the office for my guy Trey. Went out there double, making life hell for those bigs in Kentucky. Tell him I said I see him out there going crazy.
Dude, Spenny, I'm not going to kid you, man. I thought about you last night on the broadcast when, Kentucky was making a push, and I think they cut it to 1, and there was like 3. And guys, before I tell you this story, let me tell you this. That crowd last night, because Big Blue Nation rolls out, obviously, and they roar. Like when they were coming back, their fans were roaring. But then the Texas Tech fans and the NC State fans, because the building was jam-packed, they converted to Oakland fans for those 20 minutes or 40 minutes. And just the roaring back and forth, man. It was absolutely an incredible, the most incredible atmosphere I've ever been in, man. It was unbelievable. But backing up to that point, Kentucky, I think I cut it to 1. There's about 3 minutes left. And Spenny, I swear to God, I thought of you. Trey got the ball in the block, and Kentucky had enough, so they started doubling him. And Power 5 teams never double him, never. But they had to last night. He spun back, shot a fadeaway over their 2 7-footers. Their 7-2 7-footer in the grill. Yeah. Buckets, man. Put us up 3. We never look back.
Huge shot.
So big time, man. Yeah. Such stones on Trey Townsend, man.
Oh, speaking of stones.
That's my guy.
How about DQ Cole with the biggest shot of the game? I mean, tell me what it was like being on the call for that. And is this something I kind of going to ask a similar question that I asked about Jack Golke? Watching him this whole year, was that the type of moment that you expected from him? And just how happy are you for him that he had a moment like that really kind of won the game?
No, well, you guys know I'm the adopted son of Pontiac, and then DQ Cole is Pontiac, man. No, I was happy for him. And Sam Flannel, you won't appreciate this because you don't think this way, but you know how that play worked out? That play was supposed to be an ISO for Rocket. Yeah. And Kentucky came over and doubled them and kind of spun him back towards the middle of the floor. And then Rocket, his vision, he found DQ. And DQ, that was late in the shot clock. That was late in the game against the team that has the most NCAA tournament appearances in history, going up against a coach. And here, watch me play the wrestling part here with Flannel, guys. Check this out. Going up against a coach who, during his time at Kentucky, no other coach has more Final Fours. No other coach has more Elite Eights. No other coach has more Sweet 16s. Took another program to a Final Four. Won a national title. He's a national championship winning coach. And DQ Cole rose from the corner and sucked the soul out of Kentucky's body and really sent them on their way.
Ashley Judd.
No, he did. And I'm glad you mentioned Rocket Watts, because at the beginning of that possession, I'm not going to lie, you didn't know what it was going to turn out to be, but shout out to him for finding DQ Cole in the corner and for DQ Cole hitting one of the coldest NCAA tournament shots, at least of this year so far and of the previous few years. It was absolutely amazing to watch. Neil, I'm so happy for you that you get to call another NCAA tournament game, and hopefully next week I have to fill in for you a couple more days because you're gonna play some more. Tell me just really quick before we go, how do you see Oakland matching up with NC State? Just from what you've seen so far.
That was the preferred matchup. And just going off the basketball reasons, let me tell you why, because I know people are going to say to me, did you see DJ Reed? Did you see that man is 280 pounds? Maybe. He's rumored to be 280. He's probably more than that.
Yep.
And they got some dogs down there, and they got some size. So people would say, well, Neil, why would you think that? Remember, we play a 2-3 zone, and we play it pretty well. You can't post against a zone. Mm-hmm. You can't. And the way that you break down a zone is with big to big passing and people with back cuts underneath the zone, along the baseline and things like that. They're formative. They're an ACC tournament champion. By no means am I discrediting them or anything like that. But at the same time, our coaching staff, and here's where I give our coaching staff a lot of credit too, because I'm going to be honest, I'll come full circle. When I put together that lineup card, I had put together lineup cards for pretty much every major team in the country. I never put together a lineup card like that before. Number 13 overall recruit, number 2 overall recruit, 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. They had Raris out there, man. It was incredible. And I talked to the basketball people here, and they're like, "No, man, we like this matchup. This was the matchup that we wanted." And I was like, "Are you guys sure?" That's what I'm thinking. But they were confident, and they were right, man. We took them apart, and I would say, you turn this coaching staff loose on what NC State does, and on the other side of the coin, they are not very good defending the three. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Jack Golke likes to shoot the three.
Does he? I'm kidding.
He does. I've been told. I've been told he does.
Neil, before you get out of here, I just want to let you know Flannel was trying to discredit the win by saying Calipari choked. And
no, I didn't discredit the win.
When you were dropping bombs about his accomplishments and Final Fours and Elite Eights and championships.
One natty.
It made my heart smile because you were just ripping apart Flannel Sam's argument.
Apart my argument. Okay. One natty.
Yeah. The most, though.
Yeah.
You can't take it away from these kids, Sam. You can't take it away from Oakland.
I'm not taking.
They can't. You can't do what you're trying to do. I'm not going to let you do that, Sam.
Just putting words in my mouth. Go ahead, Neil.
No, but again, I gave you the facts. But we led for 28 minutes of that game. We were never in danger in that game. We were never in danger. Win, Flannel. When we were up 7, when we were up 5.
Misses that shot, and Kentucky has the last shot with a potential chance to win. I'm glad that never happened.
Right.
If Grandma had balls, she'd be Grandpa.
Well, and that shot put us up 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were winning already.
Dagger.
we were never in danger. We were never in danger, man. Was there high pressure moments?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's my point. And that's that again. And I know that's going to be the narrative with some people. And I'm going to stand on business with that, man. When I talk about this basketball game, Oakland was better.
Yes,
for 40 minutes, they were better. Yeah. They led. They took it to Kentucky. They out-rebounded them. Every metric you want to use, Oakland was better. Facts.
Yeah, and you could argue the other way, too. If Kentucky doesn't hit a couple of their fadeaway threes and big-time shots, exactly. Oakland goes up 7. They go up 9, and it becomes a completely different game. So you got to give credit to the people who made
we make
shots.
Free throws, yeah.
Yeah, or if
we make free throws, we're one of the better free throw shooting teams in the country.
Because that would be the narrative today if they lost. Yeah. That would be the narrative, yeah.
No, but it's not because we're still in this, and Kentucky jumped in their private jet and they went home.
They did go home in the first round for the second time in 3 years.
Yep.
Here's another little fun stat that came out. This is why the internet's great. Kentucky's men's basketball budget is $22.3 million.
Yeah.
Oakland's is $2.1 million. By budget, it's the greatest upset in the history of the NCAA tournament.
I love that.
That's fair.
Love that. Love that. Neil Rule, go have an old-fashioned. Enjoy yourself. Get that salmon jacket pressed because it's got a big dance to go to tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys, man. Flannel, appreciate you. Thank you, brother, for real, man. And Woodward, man, thank all you guys, dude. I know a lot of you guys move a lot of stuff around, and Flannel, you do a morning show already. And, real talk, man, I appreciate everything you guys do for me to allow me to continue to do this, man.
Thank you, Neil.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Shout out, Neil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, see you later.
Of course.
Of course. Hey, and before we go to break, I got to read this comment because it's very wise from one Chuck Brewer. And
I'm sure it's going to benefit you.
But I've given Chuck Brewer some lip on this show before, and I actually feel bad about one of the times. But now I'll give him credit. Both things can be true. Oakland played great and better last night. I've never disputed that. And Coach Cal teams have choked a lot the last few years. But yet we're gonna ball wash John Calipari today. when he probably is going to get fired. That's all right. But anywho, do you know where a good place to get some lunch or dinner? You could go straight from the show.
You imagine winning a national championship. It's the most Final Fours, the most Elite Eights, and you got this dude calling you a loser.
One of the top 5 coaches of our generation.
Right. But Flannel Sam doesn't think you're winning.
Talent he's produced.
He ain't Self. He ain't Jay Wright. He ain't Roy Williams. He ain't Coach
There's
K.
allowed to be other good coaches.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Didn't Izzo get one?
Yeah.
Izzo got one.
Yeah.
So
Is he
how
overrated?
many does Self have?
Self has 2.
Izzo's been bounced by underdogs a couple times.
That's fine. All right. And Tom Izzo's overrated on the national stage while also being the greatest Big Ten coach of my lifetime by a country mile. I will give you that. But Big Boy, tell us about Big Boy Steak.
Big Boy. I got better food than Sam Flannel has takes. Go there, warm up. Seafood Fest is going on right now. You know it's Friday. You know a lot of people don't eat that meat on Friday, so that's why they got Seafood Fest going on. You go there, you get some of that delicious Parmesan crusted cod, and they got some shrimp for you, all types of Alfredo. So go try it. They got Big Boys near you. SS Big Boy Seafood Fest.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
We got merch for you to buy. Look I just got this one in the mail yesterday. You know what? I was like, it's a good day to wear it, and I love this design. It's up there on the screen, too. Plus, we got some new ones. Spenny, you're supposed to have that new graphic, and whenever you feel like downloading that to use for the live reads, we can do that,
we
too.
got the picture of the one you're wearing.
I like the symmetry there. But we also got new designs that come up every single week. We got Merch Monday where we put up new designs. Brad Holmes guy, LFGRW stuff. So go buy some stuff today. woodwardsports.com/shop.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam. We've got Sam Stick Day to my right. We're filling in for Neil Rule and Darren McCarty today. Spenmo Rex in the TD booth, also host of the Woodward Heavyweights along with Easy.
Shout
and
out.
we got Kenji in the sound booth. So another tournament game happened in the state of Michigan yesterday that I know Spenny was really excited about. Michigan State with an absolutely dominating 69-51 win over Mississippi State. And I'm not going to lie, Spenny, I've had a couple of my maybe bravado moments on air where I'm like, Mississippi State's going to win. I probably shouldn't have done that because deep down, what I actually thought would happen was Michigan State would kind of win an ugly game that looks something like their win over Northwestern. But Michigan State played maybe their best game of the season.
Yeah.
What'd you see yesterday?
They dominated. They shot the ball well. Ramadan Madi Sissoko went out there and had a game.
9 boards.
Like, he was all over the place. He was playing good defense. Carson Cooper played some good defense. The only player on our team that had a negative plus-minus was Jackson Kohler. And you saw a guy like Xavier Booker actually get a couple stints. It wasn't just him out there for 5 minutes and then never to be in again. He got in the game a couple times and played well when he was in the game. So I love seeing that. Jaden Akins, like that's the Jaden Akins that I know and love. He had a huge block, a huge dunk, was knocking down threes all over the place. Tyson Walker being my favorite Spartan in the past 3 years, like just going out there and putting up shots like a monster. So I love to see all of that. And AJ Hoggard was playing at the level that we expected him to this year. When he is attacking downhill, when he is getting to the basket, he is one of the best guards in the Big Ten. And when he's sitting out on the perimeter doing long twos, he is one of the worst guards in the Big Ten. So if AJ Hoggard's not hitting a corner three, I want him to be attacking down the basket and getting to the rim because he's big, physical, and can make contested layups.
No, I think you said it. You said it pretty much perfectly. I mean, Tyson Walker, he's had a great year, but he had one of his most efficient games of the season in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But Jaden Akins, did he make himself some money yesterday? Because I know out of all of the guys who returned, he was probably the one that was the highest rated NBA draft prospect. He probably would have been drafted at some point if he would have came out last year, but he was one of those that had a bit of a disappointing season. How big was this for Jaden Akins? And by the way, if he plays like this, can they beat North Carolina?
If they play like that, they can beat anybody in the country. Like, it's just like we know that March is about guard play, and Michigan State has 4 guards that they can rotate that all play well. Trey Holloman didn't have his best game, but it's like when he's on, he's playing well. If Jaden Akins shoots like he did and plays like he did, yeah, Michigan State can win because they were double teaming Malik Hall every single time he got the ball. So if a team's going to do that, you're going to get a lot of open perimeter shots. Tyson Walker's going to knock his down. If AJ Hoggard's in the corner, he's going to knock it down. So if Jaden Akins hitting shots, they can beat teams for sure.
I feel like this Michigan State team is the team that all year long in school, they're kind of that student that just didn't do the assignment, didn't turn in their homework, and now all of a sudden it's test time, and they're going to ace the exam. you know, like that's how I felt when I was watching them play yesterday. Like and it's almost because of Tom Izzo's consistency, because you almost know you're going to make the tournament no matter what you do in the regular season. I know you get an influx of new players each year, but there's got to be some level of complacency at MSU. And when you're Coach Tom Izzo, how do you go against that? And it seems it's been harder and harder and harder for him to get his teams up for the regular season, but as we all know, the minute they're in the tournament, it's anybody's guess what is going to happen. He's had talented high seeds that gets knocked out. He's had lower seeds that have gone further. And Tom Izzo just knows how to do this. And, you know, one of the best attributions that Tom Izzo has is winning on that 48-hour turnaround. He's one of the best ever to do that in the tournament, winning the second game. So once he gets that first one, it's almost damn near guaranteed they're going to win the second one.
A 1 seed North Carolina, though.
I'm just going by stats, which you love, man. So that's what I don't get about you, Flannel. Like a guy's like 18-1 on the second game, and it's like, well, 18-1 doesn't matter right now.
How many times has Izzo MSU teams been a 1 seed, a 2 seed,
I mean,
a 3 seed, a 4 seed?
We could get granular with it if you want.
They're playing number 1 seed North Carolina, and for the record, Spenny,
right, but they were the number 4 team in the nation to start the year.
I know.
You think that talent just disappeared like Space Jam?
No. It didn't disappear, and that's why I think they are dangerous. I agree with you, Spenny. If they play like they did against Mississippi State, they can give North Carolina a run for their money. Hell, they could even beat them. But I will say this.
So why are you not cool with what I
Because you're saying it's basically a guarantee that they're going to go beat North Carolina.
I said guarantee. I said they have the best odds with the best coach who has the best winning percentage in Game 2 48-hour turnarounds.
And they're playing one of their toughest Game 2 matchups ever.
Okay. It doesn't
North
change
Carolina.
what they've done.
It doesn't change what they've done.
Thank you.
Fine. But you're acting like it's just a foregone conclusion that they're going to beat North Carolina. It's a foregone conclusion.
No, but it's definitely a bigger possibility the way this team is set up, the way their coaching staff has performed over the past 24 years, and the way that they had the talent going into the season. It's more likely than most 9 seeds going into a number 1 seed. Can you at least...
There you go. See, there you go. That's all you had to say from the beginning. Because, yes, Michigan State is super talented. Yeah, they did have a disappointing regular season, but as much as I hate it as a Michigan fan, MSU does have an opportunity to right every single wrong of this past regular season. And like you said, Spenny, they've got the talent to do it, especially if AJ Hoggard is playing within himself and Jaden Akins plays like the NBA prospect that he was and still is, but he's making some money in the NCAA tournament. That's for sure. But I'll tell you what, UNC is definitely a different animal than Mississippi State. I honestly should have never even picked Mississippi, or I never should have even thought that Mississippi State had a chance. They can't shoot the 3 and they can't shoot free throws. Spoiler alert, they didn't do that against Michigan State as well, but MSU's defense was very good, and Matty Sissoko with 9 rebounds. Who could have foresaw that? But congratulations to MSU. UNC is going to have a tough one on their hands. And I can guarantee you this. UNC would prefer not to have Michigan State as their second round matchup. I'll give you that.
What? No, it's going to be the UNC's got this. Why even think?
They don't. You said that. You basically implied that about Michigan State.
No, I just honestly, like, you got to be. I'm not an Izzo guy, right? I think Izzo has been kind of over the hill for a while, but I can also use my eyes and be like, man, every time this guy gets in the tournament, they can do some damage. They just need to get in the fight, whether they're a 9 seed, whether they're an 8 seed, a 7, a 6, wherever it is. As long as Michigan State's in the fight, Tom Izzo can draw up a game plan to shut down a team, especially on those short turnarounds when you don't have that much scouting going into it. You know, because that's another beautiful point about this tournament. You get matchups that you don't necessarily see. Now, Michigan State is smart. They schedule the top dogs usually throughout the course of a 5-year stretch. So they are a little familiar with North Carolina. They've played them before. But Izzo is Izzo when it comes to this time of year, and you cannot count these guys out from anything, not even a natty at this point.
And, you know, obviously North Carolina is a good team, but we've played and beat good teams this year, even on a down regular season. We played the number 3 team in the country, Baylor, and beat them by 20-plus points and held them to 17 points in the first half. So, like, it's not a foregone conclusion to say UNC is just going to wipe the floor. Do I expect Michigan State to win? No, but there's definitely a chance.
It's gonna be a close game. I predict a close UNC victory in which Michigan State really has the UNC fans sweating for a lot of the game. But you know what even tied the whole great sports night in the city of Detroit on a bow? The Detroit Red Wings, of course, and we definitely have to talk about them. But first, I got to tell you where you get your insurance. But I also have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is insurance rates are going up across the board in Michigan. The good news is Swiss Insurance is here to help. Right now, more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss will make sure your carrier does not slip in extra fees or raise deductibles. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today or visit SwissINS.com. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you or give them a call at 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Hey, Jack Labrador, it's a fun new game to play. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just click that QR code that's over my head right now. It is a new twist on paper, rock, scissors, and it is fun to play. What?
It's rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, we do this every time.
I know.
Every time, Spenny.
Yeah.
Why do you say it like that, though?
They both do.
Flannel says it too.
I know.
This is the one rare thing
Paper,
Flannel
rock,
and I agree
scissors.
on.
It's cringe.
It's paper, rock, scissors. Either way, JackLabrador.gg. Play paper, rock, scissors, rock, paper, scissors, or scissor, rock, paper. However you want to say it. It's a improvement on the game, and it's a lot easier to say. Jack Labrador. You can't mess that up.
Cruising into hour 2 of Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network, and I teased it before the break, but the Detroit Red Wings got a big win last night over the New York Islanders, 6-3. It wasn't even that close. It was pretty much a wall-to-wall victory by the Detroit Red Wings. It puts them now 3 games ahead of the New York Islanders, 3 points ahead of the New York Islanders for the last playoff spot, 5 ahead of it's 3 ahead of Washington, 5 ahead of the Islanders, and 6 ahead of the New Jersey Devils. So they went from that 7-game losing streak where they almost effed their season to they've kind of righted the ship a little bit, won 3 out of their last 4. And one of the big differences you've seen in the last couple of games, get the picture ready, Spenny. Simon Edvinsson got called up after the loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. There he is. Look at that beautiful man right there. Hey.
Whoa.
Whoa.
He's a handsome guy.
Hey, after 2-game winning streak, 3 goals a game, last couple, I'm allowed to be happy about that.
You're allowed to ball wash.
I am allowed to ball wash.
Go ahead, Sam.
But yes,
wash them balls.
But you know what? I will say this about the Detroit Red Wings, and Simon Edvinsson is definitely a big part of it. We all know in the Red Wings 7-game losing streak, offensively they were bad, but defensively they were allowing over 5 goals a game. And Simon Edvinsson was still in Grand Rapids, and Alex Lyon was your starting goaltender in 6 out of those 7 games. But in these last couple, we've seen Simon Edvinsson up. In the last 3 Red Wings wins, we've seen James Reimer as the goaltender, and he only has allowed 7 total goals in those 3 games. So, Spenny, I'll go to you first. How important has he been in these last 2, and how important can he be down this stretch run where the Red Wings are back firmly in a driver's seat to get the last playoff spot?
Well, he's extremely important. You need competent defensemen, and we didn't have competent defensemen outside of Wallman and Seider. And so you bring up a guy like Simon Edvinsson, and he plays big, he makes stops, he sells out, and he's just so big in that lane with his reach and his stick that it's hard for people to get around him. And last night, his first game up, he wasn't really doing much. He wasn't trying to get beat. He was just being fundamental, looking comfortable. Last night, he was bodying people. He was putting people into the boards. He was using that big size of his to be physical and imposing to teams, which we don't really have on this team outside of Mo Seider. So it's just awesome to see another guy up here who is big, who is aggressive, who hits, and who plays great defense.
Yeah, and this is where you have to give both credit to a couple of guys who have taken some slings and arrows, and I don't necessarily blame you for some of them. Steve Yzerman and Derek Lalonde. With the calling up of Simon Edvinsson, you got to give Steve Yzerman credit for that because it wasn't working. You were absolutely right. Some of the signings that Steve Yzerman made, like Justin Hull, hasn't done dick this whole year. Jeff Petrie, you'd rather not see him on a playoff team. Same with Oli Mata. Same with even at times Ben Sherratt and Ghost. As defensive players. It's just facts. And Simon Edvinsson, he was your number 6 overall pick in 2021. Believe it or not, he was drafted the year after Lucas Raymond, and Lucas Raymond is about to have his 3rd full season in the NHL. So it's been great to see him, and with making the move to James Reimer. We've talked about it. Alex Lyon had a magical run. He was never really used to playing this kind of a workload, and he wasn't good in that stretch. Nobody was on this entire team, but him especially. And James Reimer in these last few games, and has, like I said, 7 goals allowed in his last 3 starts, and he's 3-0 in them. So that was a very good move by Derek Lalonde. And like I said before, the Wings went from tail spinning to now 3 points clear of the Washington Capitals and 5 of the New York Islanders, who themselves are. I would say the Red Wings may have vanquished them. What do you say, Spenny?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that you have to look out for. The season's not over, but the Islanders are in a tailspin as well. So I'm safe with them. But
it feels good, right?
It does feel good.
It feels good. We saw the trend going where the Red Wings were killing everybody, and everybody was feeling on top of the world. And then all of a sudden, Larkin gets hurt. They lose a bunch of games in a row, and it's like, oh, this team's over. Now they're starting to trend back up, and honestly, that's what you want in hockey more than any other sport, because hot teams in hockey can do damage. It seems like once the playoffs hit in hockey, seeding doesn't matter. You need a hot goalie, and you need to be trending up at the time. If you have those 2 things, we've seen it as Red Wings fans. Back in the day, John Sebastian Jaguar lighting us, not letting in a goal when the team wins, the best record in the NHL, and those number 1 seeds getting knocked out by lower seeds. So the Red Wings, I'm not saying they're going to go to the Stanley Cup, but it's nice to see them on an uptrend and then going into the playoffs on this uptrend, then securing the position early and fading into the playoffs.
Yeah, and that was obviously a concern when they were on that 7-game losing streak. To me, and I think to pretty much everyone in this room, I don't want to speak for all of you guys, and even D-Mac said it at the beginning of the year, this season was about making the playoffs or bust. And it was they were really safely in, then they had a tailspin, and it looked like they did lose their spot briefly, and now with this 3 out of 4 stretch, they're 3 points ahead of Washington, and Washington just had a loss to Toronto. So we will see about this Detroit Red Wings team, but there's another thing that happened last night that I think will be very beneficial to the Red Wings moving forward, and will certainly beneficial last night. You all probably know who that is, but I'll tell you about that after this next break. But first, tell us about Shake Shack.
Ooh, Shake Shack. Did Fish steal that football?
Yeah, I think he did.
He did. He took the Shake Shack football. Shake Shack. Let me tell you, when it comes to chicken sandwiches, I got a sleeper for you. And get a free chicken shack. Did I say chicken shack? Shake Shack Chicken Shack?
Yep.
Get a free chicken shack right now. Use promo code Woodward when you purchase it. And also, we're going to be doing a cool thing with Shake Shack downtown where you will get a chance to win front row tickets to go see your Detroit Lions play. We're going to be doing that around draft time, so keep a lookout for that. In the meantime, go get your chicken shack. It'll be free. Just use the promo code Woodward.
Big Boy Seafood Fest is sailing in with a fresh catch of favorites. Dive into fish and chips, our new palm-crusted cod, perfectly fried clam shrimp platter, or a delicious fish sandwich. Try our new mango iced tea, the ultimate complement to our popcorn shrimp, our all-new fried pickles, shrimp alfredo, or shrimp stir-fry. Experience all the sea has to offer every Friday night with our all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. Every day is a fish fry, only at Big Boy.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports. Every year, after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party, it's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest.
Feldman Chevrolet is Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, and we do a live broadcast out in Novi every other Monday. Coming out and see the shows live, and while you're there, scoop up a car. I know Flannel Sam has. I think Broder has. A couple other people have bought cars from them. They take care of you like your family. That's why they have 18 locations all over Metro Detroit. FeldmanAuto.com to find the nearest location to you, but I would recommend coming out to Novi.
Absolutely. Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. And we talked a bit about the Detroit Red Wings and having Simon Edvinsson up and James Reimer having 3 consecutive very good performances in net for the Detroit Red Wings. But nothing really swung the game last night or is making us Red Wings fans happier than the return of, my captain, Dylan Larkin. Yeah. Returned with an absolute bang, getting 2 goals in a 6-3 win over the New York Islanders. So yes, I had a little bit of a robot moment for a second, but anywho, it was an absolutely huge win, and I think as unfortunate as it is, and as much as we didn't like to see it, I think one of the biggest things is, how does your team play when you're not there? And I said before that Alex DeBrincat, he kind of struggled in the 9-game stretch in which the Red Wings were 2-7 without Dylan Larkin. So did Comfer, and so did Daniel Sprong. But they did right the ship to the point where they're still in that playoff spot, 3 games, 3 points clear of the Washington Capitals. And now that Dylan Larkin is back, I'll tell you what, I trust their offense moving forward, and all that defense has to do is hold them to 3 or under, and the Red Wings are going to win. You know how I know? Because in 2024, the Red Wings are undefeated in regulation when they allow 3 goals or fewer. So, Spenny, What did you see last night when Dylan Larkin was back, and how can this benefit the team moving forward? Or how much will this benefit the team? It'll obviously benefit them.
It's huge. He is by far the best player on this roster. And I don't think that's even questionable at this point. You see the impact he had coming back, and it's not only what he does, helping out the guys around him, with being the center, being the guy that dishes, assists, and make things. It's not only his scoring prowess. The biggest thing is his face-off acumen. How whenever he's on the dot, you think he's going to win that face-off, and that is extremely important. And having a center now in between DeBrincat and Kane that's not Austin Czarnik, I'm actually happy. Like, Larkin is by far the best player on this team. It is great to have him back out there, and he showed why.
Not only the best player on this team, but now I think you can argue he is the most valuable player on any Detroit sports team right now.
Yeah, singular, probably.
You can't. I mean, Jared Goff may be the only other one I would argue with you.
Yeah.
But outside of that, he is the MVP of Detroit sports right now.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because in the 9 games that he was out, the Red Wings were scoring 2.2 goals per game. On the season, they're 3.4. What does that tell you? That the offense just does not function as well without Dylan Larkin on the team.
And that's good, but it's scary, right? It's scary that your whole team is predicated on one dude.
And I hate to bring this up, because one of the calling cards of this team was we thought that they had depth. And shout out to Lucas Raymond for really stepping up the last 5 games, and for Patrick Kane for basically being his usual self during that 9-game absence. But you had some people like DeBrincat. Like I said, he's now on his 11th consecutive game without a goal, although he had a couple of assists last night. I'll tell you what, a lot of people might not like this, but we should retroactively pull Alex DeBrincat's all-star nod and give it to Dylan Larkin. Because you're absolutely right. Dylan Larkin is the best player on this team.
You think he gets up for league MVP?
No.
He's missed too many games, and he's too far behind in the point race.
I know, but just like the optic test, when he's there, you guys are winning. When he's gone, you're dog shit. That's a pretty valuable player.
That's fair.
Honestly,
Lucas Raymond's been playing well too, and Christian Fisher's been on a heater too. But yeah, Stick, you're right. It is by far. I would agree with that. That Dylan Larkin is the most important player in Detroit for their specific team. The only one you'd argue more is probably Goff.
Oh, you saw. And the away fans, so good to hear Dylan Larkin chants at LCA last night. Well earned.
Yeah, you happy about that, Spenny? Now you can quit crying about people supporting Jared Goff.
I'm extremely happy about that.
No, it's not being a crybaby.
It is a crybaby.
When it's a Red Wings game, you got to chant a Red Wing.
But that's because you guys don't understand what Jared Goff actually meant. It doesn't mean the dude. It's a battle cry. It's more than a dude. It's about a guy who overcame adversity. It's about a guy who brought a team from nowhere into something. It's about the spirit of Detroit. You guys took it as they're rooting for Jared Goff. It's like, no, that became the battle cry for just Lions fans that wanted to let out after 30 years of suck.
No, and I understand when you're at Ford Field, when you're going to a Red Wings game at LCA after you leave the game.
This is where you young kids, I'm going to get on my old man shit right now. This is where you young kids don't get it. Like back in the 80s and the 90s when all the teams were clicking a little bit, you saw Stevie Y sitting courtside. You saw teams going and supporting other teams, and that's when this becomes really fun as a fan.
Yeah,
right?
and we saw when there is
and that's when when that synergy is throughout the entire city. It's amazing. So that's why when you guys were like, oh, you got to be chanting a Red Wing, it's like they're not slighting the Red Wings by chanting like the mantra for the greatest sporting thing that has happened in Detroit in a long time. That's you guys just took it too personal. I love it. Chant Dylan Larkin. He's great. I'm glad he's back. But man, when you guys were bitching about that,
it was just annoying.
But we weren't bitching.
Oh, he was.
I was.
No, but
he was.
But I think you were justified personally. When you do that, you make it seem like Jared Goff is like a god or something.
He is.
No, he's not.
He is here.
I see that. That's a little much. That's a little much at this point. I give him a shit ton
of credit. He's the best quarterback I've for the Lions that I've ever seen.
Yep.
Let that set in.
Maybe not skill wise, but
yes.
And that's winning, where Sam Bot over here starts. His wires start going crazy. Like, what do you mean? Matthew Stafford had a better arm and threw for more yards. It's like, but he never won shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
but
winning matters. But winning's not a quarterback stat.
But it wasn't
well, then whose
Stafford's
stat
fault.
is it?
It wasn't Stafford's fault.
Never was. No, not to Stafford apologists. Nothing was ever Stafford's fault.
I'm not a Stafford apologist.
I have never heard anybody that loves Stafford say anything was his fault. It was always the defensive coordinator, the draft picks, the offensive coordinator, the offensive line, the running back, the wide receiver. It was always something to make an excuse for Matthew Stafford. Jared Goff came in with less than Stafford had, and he built it with him at the helm with the help of others, but he got there. He's the man. We don't need to get in the Stafford-Goff debate, but I'm glad they're chanting Dylan Larkin, but I still had to address Jared Goff is bigger than Jared Goff.
I'd like to see Jared Goff at a Red Wings game.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to see that.
But then if they start chanting his name, will you freak out?
That would be fine. If he was there and you're doing it, that's fine. But, like, he wasn't there. J-Mo went. Gibbs went. Hutch went.
Yeah,
Campbell and Goff are the next guys I want to see in the line.
If Campbell goes anywhere, that's the thing. You
That's
never
why
see Dan Campbell out on the town.
That's why I want the Red Wings in the playoffs more than just my Red Wings fandom, is to get Dan Campbell chugging a beer on the Jumbotron. You know how much that place will pop, dude? Oh, my God.
I don't think Dan Campbell even has a good time in life because he's so laser focused on that football team. Like he's gonna party when it's over. Like I think that's his mentality. Like you never see him out. You never see him at bars. You never see people snapping pictures, even at a car wash or anything like that. It's wild. He's probably one of the biggest sports figures. You never hear a peep about him.
Probably the biggest sports figure in like right now, outside of retired guys, like active sports figures. I'd say he's probably the biggest.
I will say this though, and this actually makes sense, and it's on brand. If he's the guy who, I mean, we all know NFL coaches, they put in hours. That's one of the hardest jobs and the most high pressure job. One of my former coworkers at an old job actually ran into him at an airport.
Really?
So that makes sense.
So he's human.
He's human. He actually
he does things.
It was after the off season, because after what they accomplished last year, he deserves a short vacation, and then of course it's back to work.
I see him taking 24 hours off, then waking up the next morning with his coffee with the 97 shots, watching film, and then just calling Brad Holmes all day.
Right.
That's it. That's all this guy does.
Hey, and maybe.
But let's go Red Wings.
No, let's go Red Wings. That's the team that's relevant right now, and I mean relevant because they're playing right now. And yeah, I agree with you. I'd love to see the Red Wings in the playoffs. I mean, we all most certainly would, but I think you would definitely see some Lions there. You might even see some Tigers or some Pistons.
Bears.
Although some Pistons, I don't want the Pistons infecting LCA at that point. But that's another story for
wow.
Well,
come on,
playoff team, 12-win team. I'm just saying, I don't want to see any Piston at that game. If the Red Wings are
a little harsh.
I'd like to see them there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a little harsh. Like you want the boys supporting each other.
Yeah,
I suppose
you want them to see what a winning culture is.
Yeah,
if you go
what it feels like in the playoffs, so that maybe it inspires them to actually do well.
You know what?
So they can see playoff atmosphere in LCA.
Yeah.
You know what? You guys are right. You guys are right.
Hey.
For all of you who say that I can't admit when I'm wrong, I literally just did it. I listened to what you guys had to say, and I changed
new information.
With new information. I'm allowed to change it.
He's giving himself props for saying.
You're right.
I love you, Flannel.
I love you too. But do you know who I love? Dylan Larkin, of course. That was a hell of a performance last night. You saw Andrew Kopp with a couple goals as well, man. I mean, if Kopp gives you 2 goals and Christian Fischer gives you 1, you're probably going to win that game.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out Christian Fischer as well.
He's been on a heater, man.
In the last 11 games, he's played better than Alex DeBrincat
has.
He has. But
he scored more points.
Yes, that's fair. But Alex DeBrincat, he's one that the good news is he's been known to have some heaters as well. So maybe on this next road trip, which is going to be very, very tough, 5 road games. You got Washington, you've got Tampa Bay, you've got Nashville, you've got Florida. I believe I don't know which the other one is, but still, even just that is a hell of a gauntlet. And Washington, that's one that you
gotta win.
You got to win that one. You'd also like to win against Tampa as well. Maybe even catch them for that first wild card spot. We shall see. But coming up next, we got to talk about the team that really the straw that stirs the drink in this town, and that is the Detroit Lions. Got to give you some Cam Sutton talk because that is what's hot right now. But first, I have to tell you about Premier Pet. That's you, Spencer.
I will tell you about Premier Pet. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. The same prices and all the conveniences the online and big box retailers, with one major difference. They're family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local, curbside, home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best at www.premierpetsupply.com. And also, let me tell you about the Quarterback Challenge presented by Shake Shack. Shake Shack and Woodward Sports want to remind you it's always football season. How would you like to win 2 tickets to this season's home opener? It's the Shake Shack QB Challenge. If you could throw it on a rope, you could be at the home opener, and we all know those Lions atmospheres last year were electric. So if you want to be a part of this home opener, all you got to do is register today at any Shake Shack location or at woodwardsports.com, or you can scan that QR code right there above my head and join in on Shake Shack and Woodward Sports' Quarterback Challenge.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. On Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam. The man to my right is Sam Stick Day. We got Spencer Raxter in the TV booth and Kenji in the sound booth. So I don't know if I need to refresh everyone with what's going on with Cam Sutton. There's a warrant out for his arrest. He's on the run. They can't find him. So the Detroit Lions, they've officially cut him / released him. And I have the post that I want to read from Spot Track. Cornerback Cam Sutton has officially been designated as a post-June 1st release by the Lions. Detroit has also signified their intent to void his $10.5 million salary guarantee for 2024. This means Detroit carries his $12.6 million cap into June, then takes on the dead hits of $2.18 million in 2024 and $6.54 million in 2025. Stick, was this the right move, just cutting Cam Sutton now?
It's so tough for me to make these calls, right? You know, I think they probably have more information than me and you have. Yeah. I don't know, honestly. You gotta get yourself an arm length away from any assault and battery situation. When it broke, and Braylon and I were talking about it, I said it puts kind of Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell in a very precarious position because, like, they pride themselves on, if you're one of our guys, you're one of our guys. We're gonna have your back. We're, like, you're part of the family. And then something like this happens, and this is really your first chance to either back the guy or believe what's being said about the guy and move on from him. So that's where I want to believe they did more due diligence than just saw the Wednesday warrant post that we all did, and they're like, okay, this is going to be bad. He's going to get suspended. We need to move on from him. Obviously they have to think business-wise too. Okay, he did something that's voiding his contract. Maybe they didn't really want him for the rest of the contract, and this was a loophole that they could get out of. But I don't like speaking in these generalities because I don't know. As a business, it's the right thing to do. As a personal relationship, I don't know what their relationship with him was. And I brought it up with the Henry Ruggs situation in Vegas. Like, that dude got drunk, slammed into a lady, killed her, and you saw his quarterback go on and defend him.
Yeah, or just
right?
say he needs love and I'm going to love him or something
exactly.
like that.
I didn't know what response we were going to get in this situation. And, and it's kind of escalated, right? It escalated from what he did was wrong. Obviously, domestic battery is never something that should be tolerated on any single level and anywhere in this world. But now we're almost worried about his well-being.
Absolutely.
Where is this guy? What he did was wrong, but is he even alive to this point? Like, you saw our group chat last night.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah.
They brought it up. They're concerned that this dude's even living right now. And that's why I was like, well, this escalated quickly.
Yeah.
I posted the meme as kind of a joke about it, but it's true. It goes from, holy hell, Cam Sutton, he was such a nice guy. Everything about him said he wouldn't do this, to he's been gone for weeks, to police can't get a hold of him, to dude may be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it is just such a whirlwind, and trying to figure it all out with the limited information that we know and the limited updates that we know. Like, the only thing they've come out with that he was somewhat alive is they caught his car license plate on one of those Florida cameras. But I don't even know how long ago that was. So it's a bizarre situation. Cutting him, probably the right thing to do as a team and a business-wise. You have to set that standard. But at the same time, like I said, they could have taken the innocent until proven guilty approach as well, and we would have been like, well, that's Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes standing by their guys. So I don't know if it's the right thing. My gut tells me it is, but I don't know.
That's what's so tough. And Hoofhearted puts this in the chat, and I think that this is I would echo this sentiment. I'm not going to speak for everyone else. Right move, I don't know. Only move, yeah. And I can definitely understand that one, because as you were saying, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, the way that they've been built, obviously they have a ton of talented players, have drafted a lot of great players, but those are also great players who have high character. There's that phrase which we use all of the time, and I think most of us have embraced it. A Dan Campbell guy, a Brad Holmes guy, and Cam Sutton, he certainly appeared to be that. I mean, even on this show, he did one of the best interviews any athlete's ever done. It was on Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. He looked happy. It was really nice, and we all thought that he was that Dan Campbell kind of guy. But if what he actually was accused of, he's guilty of, then he's not a Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes guy. So that's the tough situation that we have to navigate, and also having this situation hang over the locker room, and which has a lot of young players on rookie contracts. That's something that probably a lot of them aren't accustomed to.
You're setting a standard too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's like a zero tolerance standard.
Yeah,
and I just hate speaking on these things till I know all the facts.
I know that's what's so
because do we want to say if it's all true? Oh man, this guy's horrible. Like, yeah, get rid of him. Oh yeah, but if there's caveats to it, if there's there's lies being told, I don't know, I just don't know.
Yeah. That's the hard part, because there's the human element. There's the I hope that he's okay. There's also him, the football player. And
right.
It's not like, and I hate to bring this up, but it's not like Cam Sutton lit the world on fire last year. I mean, we talked about it on yesterday's show. I gave respect to him of what he could have possibly been on this improved corner room, because you saw him in 2022 have a really good season for the Pittsburgh Steelers with a great pass rush and with better pieces around him. And you saw him in 2020 have a decent year for the Steelers as primarily a slot corner. My point is that Cam Sutton could have played either and probably done a pretty good job. But on the other hand, that's why you bring in Amik Robertson. I know that wasn't the thought process at the time, but he's somebody that now looks, at least from a football level, a pretty wise signing. Emmanuel Mosley could get healthy. It might change things in the free agency or the draft. There's a lot that football guys like Brad Holmes have to look into when they're making decisions like that.
And what does it do for them in the draft now?
Sure.
Are they going to leap up and take a cornerback that they know is not going to start this year, but can learn under Carlton Davis and the guys that they did sign? Or do they go out and sign, because they did save a little bit of money by cutting them? I mean, the
tiny bit.
It's only going to be $2 million this year and $5 million next year. So, because that's money that they already paid out. Those checks have been cash. That was, guaranteed upfront money. So it's not like they can get it back from them. There's a tragic situation all the way around, and really like the first stain on the Brad Holmes regime. And it's not Brad Holmes' fault by any stretch of the imagination.
Not the Lions' fault at all.
It's not, but it is. Like, I think we all in this building know about responsibility for somebody else's words. Maybe they're in a tweet or a text that make it out to the public, and that's not me. saying it, but I'm associated with it. Right.
Yeah, and trust me, I mean, one funky Lions fan brings up the problem is we don't really know what happened, and then he brings up a potential scenario, which I don't know how far-fetched it is, and then Zebediah Roberts brings up Duke lacrosse. It was just another one of those situations where they
Duke lacrosse
yeah,
story.
where they like crucified these guys and they never did anything. And when it comes to situations like this, the longer it goes on,
I like that punter guy,
Matt Ariza, the punt god,
got his NFL career taken away,
Yeah.
and it
Off a
was
rape
completely
allegation.
false. Or the Trevor Bauer situation.
Yeah,
that happened,
that's a great example.
Like, he got blackballed from the MLB, and then it came out that none of it was true.
Yeah, there's another guy. They're coming out with a movie. I think he was a linebacker, and he went and served like 8 years.
oh, wasn't his
in
name
jail.
like Brian Banks or something like that?
Yeah,
He was
Brian
like,
Banks.
He was going,
Yep. He was going to go to USC.
Yeah.
And it turns out, like she said, he raped her in a hallway. And it turns out none of that happened, and the reason she couldn't go back on the lie is because her family was getting a $1.5 million settlement from the school, and they didn't want to botch that money.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't believe that is the situation with Cam Sutton.
Yeah.
though.
We don't know, though.
We don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
But you're not going to be running and
That's-
not in contact with the cops for 2 weeks if you're innocent.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
That's that's what's tough about it all. And I can sit up here on air and say that I am uncomfortable with the principle of just saying, yeah, Cam Sutton cut him without really any knowing whether it's true or not. That's not how I like to operate. But also, an NFL team isn't the court of law. So if you just don't want that cloud hanging around your team, and also carry in the fact that Cam Sutton, although it wasn't all his fault, did not have the best season last year, especially towards the end and in the playoffs. It's something that if you're Brad Holmes and you decide you should just kind of cut the head off the snake now and just keep the Lions locker room just intact, not a whole cloud hanging on it, I can't necessarily fault him for that. KG, did the Lions make the right move in cutting Cam Sutton? At least your initial reaction.
Yeah, I think they had to. They ain't really have much of a choice. I know a lot of people have been saying they couldn't get in touch with Cam Sutton. I'm sure the team has tried to reach out, and maybe they couldn't get in touch with him either. So you really can't expect him to play it for you in 2024 anyway, just with the allegations and everything going on. Right. So I think it was the right thing to do. You want to rip the Band-Aid off ahead of time and just get it over with. But I mean, it's a tricky situation. From what I've read, he was in a really nasty custody battle for his child, and things may have gotten out of hand in that way. So you hope for his well-being. You hope he's okay. If he is responsible for these things, you want him to answer for what he did, turn himself in, and get the help he needs. But until the situation is resolved, it's just too hard to tell right now what really transpired with this situation. But the Lions, I think they did all they could in this matter. They did what they were supposed to do, and you got to free up at least a little bit of money to try and maybe replace that position.
Yeah, him running from it is really what is the biggest.
Right.
Because I don't want to say biggest red flag, like the charge is the biggest red flag. But let's not pretend like the NFL wouldn't allow him to play again after this, right?
I mean, well, yeah.
No, we've seen it with Kareem Hunt. We've seen it with Joe Mixon. We've seen it with multiple players in the NFL that have hit women and bad or whatever. And then 2 years later, they wind up playing in the NFL.
But that's 2 years. So, you can't expect them for this season.
No. I'm not saying this season. I'm just talking about Cam Sutton running from it like he has. Yeah. Like, if you own it, like, okay, I messed up. If it was a one-time mess up, if this is something. So there's just so many layers to it.
It is.
And it's. I know people are like, oh, we said we shouldn't talk. We don't know enough to talk about it, and here we are talking about it.
Yeah.
But this is the biggest topic right now for the Detroit Lions, and I think it's important for all of us to talk it through and what we think about it, and just the situation in general as men, how we would handle it, and what we think of it too. It's bigger than just football too.
It is.
Yeah, it's a life story at this point, but fortunately or unfortunately, I do want to get a little bit back more into the football side of things, because with the whole Cam Sutton situation and potentially with Josh Reynolds not re-signing, there might be a few needs on this Detroit Lions team that maybe we didn't foresee going into the 2024 NFL draft. But first, if any of those prospects or any person in general wants to look more like an athlete, where could they go work out?
Oh, work out? Only one place to work out. That's Planet Fitness, baby. We were out there in Redford earlier this week, and what a lovely facility that they have. Shout out to Kayla, the general manager out there. She was awesome. So if you want to go sign up in Redford, you can do that. You want to do White Lake? You can do that. You want to do Roseville? Sure, they got one there. They got them all over Metro Detroit, and it's only $10 a month. That's $120 a year to get yourself in shape. Not a bad deal, if you ask me. Your fitness is essential.
Year after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party. It's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest. You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
What's better than crispy chicken and pizza while watching your favorite team play? Let me tell you about Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza. Their food is amazing, and their locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit. A perfect takeout option featuring hand-breaded fried chicken, New York pizza, fresh salads, sides, and more. Check out their full menu and find the closest Soroki's near you at Sorokis.com. That's SAROKIS.com. Soroki's and Woodward Sports. Now that's crispy.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. It has been a really fun show navigating it. It was a really great day in Detroit sports yesterday. But now, of course, we got to talk a little bit more Detroit Lions because, as we all know by now, Cam Sutton was officially cut by the Lions, and wide receiver Josh Reynolds is meeting with the Baltimore Ravens, and the Lions have already re-signed Donovan Peoples-Jones, so I'm assuming right now that Josh Reynolds is probably more likely than not to not be back with the team next year. And
dropped.
Hey, you know what? I actually wouldn't mind him coming back, but if you don't want him back because of those playoff drops, I'm not going to blame you for that. I can't blame you for that.
It's not that I don't want him back. It's that I don't care if he comes back.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? I'm indifferent to it. If they sign him, cool. You know, he brought a lot when he first came here, when the wide receiver core was very poor. But, you know, they made it pretty clear that Jameson Williams is going to be the number 2 dedicated wide receiver.
Yeah.
You know, Amon-Ra St. Brown is still that dude.
He signed DPJ.
They have DPJ Green, who was slept on from last year's draft as well.
Yeah.
So
it's cheaper to go to the draft.
They're looking at other wide receivers. They talked 2 of their pre-draft visits were with Brian Thomas Jr. and Xavier Leggett, who are big body receivers.
Nuts.
And there is one thing that I said a couple times that if you hear it from me, you know it's true. And I'm not saying it about everybody. I'm not going to be these gobblers and say it about Amon-Ra St. Brown or Sam Laporta or players like that. But Jared Goff made Josh Reynolds.
Yeah.
If you look at Josh Reynolds, look at Josh Reynolds' best seasons, it's when Jared Goff is his quarterback. When he hasn't had Jared Goff as his quarterback, he gets cut by the Titans. He gets kicked off of other teams. He gets cut by other teams. Josh Reynolds is successful in the NFL when he is Jared Goff as his quarterback.
Yeah.
Josh Reynolds is a good player. Would I want him on the team? Yeah. Am I freaking out because he might be gone? No, he is replaceable.
That's the thing. He's totally replaceable. And you're right. You know, sometimes in a career you just find that guy that knows how to play with you. You know, it reminds me a little bit of Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton. Like Rip wasn't Rip till he got with Chauncey, and Chauncey could get him coming off those screens, get the ball to him in the right spot. Then you saw when Chauncey left and Allen Iverson came in, Rip wasn't Rip anymore. Like You know, it's just sometimes you find that marriage that works, and they had it. I mean, Goff was struggling right along here in Detroit that first year and midway through that second, and then Josh Reynolds shows up, and it's like, oh, we kind of got a little bit of connection here. We can run some plays. So respect to Josh Reynolds for what he brought here, but at this point, at this stage, it's a business decision, baby.
Yeah.
You can go find many Josh Reynolds.
You know, you most certainly can. So I guess I'll ask the question. Is it more of a need to upgrade the cornerback room or the wide receiver room?
Ooh, cornerback.
Fair enough.
Cornerback. I mean, the offense, I'm not worried about
Yeah,
the offense.
you've been consistent with that.
But the only thing you're adding to the offense is like bonus pieces at this point, because you have your Amon-Ra. I mean, I can list them. You know Laporta, you know Gibbs, you know Montgomery, you know the offensive line. The offense, I don't think you have to tinker with at all. If you do get a big body guy that's a red zone jump ball guy, that's the guy we don't have on the roster. Okay, that's an improvement. That's a new toy to play with. But they got enough gadgets to work right now. Defense, 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 defense.
Well, the thing about wide receiver, too, is that it's pretty nice when you have a dominant wide receiver 1 and a dominant tight end at the top. That's a pretty good starting point. How many teams in the NFL have a dominant wide receiver 1 and a dominant tight end? The 49ers, you could argue the Vikings as well with Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, but that's a rare thing to have, and the Detroit Lions have that. And then Jamison Williams, I think it all depends on his development. Does he become that reliable wide receiver 2 or not? We shall see.
He does. I have a lot of faith in Jamison Williams going forward. Based on what he showed us at the end of the year, where he was having those hands catches, all hands catches, contested catches on the sideline in the end zone. What he did against the San Francisco 49ers, where he was arguably the best receiver on the field for the Detroit Lions in that game, it was impressive to watch. I have a lot of faith that his confidence with Jared Goff is growing. Jared Goff's confidence in him, that is growing, and they're going to be he's going to easily be the number 2 wide receiver for the Detroit Lions next year. And Nick, our guy, shout out Nick in the sound booth, put out there that Josh Reynolds, although he's good, when Stan will love this, it's a great stat, when Jamison Williams was not on the field, Josh Reynolds was averaging 72 yards per game. With Jamison Williams on the field, Josh Reynolds was averaging 28 yards per game. So that guy, Jamison Williams, he is the wide receiver 2 on this team. He proved it going down the stretch, and he's going to prove it next year.
No, that makes perfect sense, because at the beginning of the year when Jamison Williams was out, you got to give Josh Reynolds a lot of credit for that. For the first, 5 to 7 games or so, he was damn near at a 1,000-yard pace. Yeah. And you also have to give him a lot of credit for what he did, particularly in the first quarter of that Rams playoff game. Josh Reynolds, thank you for your service. And there is no snark with that whatsoever.
No.
But I think we all would agree that it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if he's gone. Yeah.
Think about how spoiled we are right now as Lions fans.
Right?
Like, our biggest worry is our number 3 wide receiver. Like, how are we going to replace Josh Reynolds? We're so spoiled right now, and it's awesome to be sitting in this position. So, yeah, if we got to say goodbye to Josh Reynolds, it's not goodbye. It's see you later. But, thank you for your time here. You did great until we needed you to do better.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he made one of the biggest gaffes of the season. But
yeah, poor guy, too. He's got to live with that.
He does have to live with that, because they're in the Super Bowl if he makes that first catch. At least that one on 4th down, where they would have at least been able to take more time off and kick a field goal or score a touchdown to put them ahead by a 21. That would have been big, but he didn't have it. I mean, even Donovan Peoples-Jones, I'm not one to count on him to be a big part of this offense, because last year his numbers kind of fell off a cliff. But in 2022, he was an 800-yard receiver. In 2021, he was a 500-yard receiver. And even in 2020, he was a 300-yard receiver, averaging over 20 yards per catch. So even him, we shall see with a full season. But yeah, when you're worrying about the wide receiver room and you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, and I'd even mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs hopefully being more involved in the passing game as a running back, that's first world problem.
Yeah, that's us talking about our nickel corner.
Yeah,
God, the nickel corner left. Like no.
Donovan Peoples-Jones has shown he can be as productive as Josh Reynolds in this league.
Absolutely,
easily.
He has a year where he's shown he can receive for over 800 yards in a season. He does. I mean, the chemistry there between Goff and Josh Reynolds is something that you can't teach overnight. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, in my mind, is a more athletic player than Josh Reynolds. He's a better athlete.
Younger.
And he's younger. He's faster. He can fill that same role that Josh Reynolds had, although he's not going to be the number 2 wide receiver, but he's shown that he can be a good piece on an offense.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. And I've had this theme with a couple of the Detroit Lions signings, and I'll get to it really quick before we go to break. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I don't want the version you were last year, but I would take the first, the second, and the third best version of yourselves. I feel the exact same way about Carlton Davis. Last year was the worst passer rating he's allowed over the totality of the season, context-free, since his rookie year. But the first, the second, and the third, and even the fourth best version of himself, which were the previous 4 years, I would take that any day of the week. And I would take his passer rating allowed on man coverage any day of the week, period. Because, he was a lot better at that than Cam Sutton. I will just say that. And the same with Marcus Davenport. I don't want the injured version of you last year where you played only 4 games. I don't want the version the year before where you had a half a sack in 15 games. But if we got the 2021 version where he had 9, his second year where he had 6, or his rookie year where he had 4.5, I would take that any day of the week. So that's kind of a theme when it comes to some of the re-signings, some reclamation projects. And then you got a guy like Amik Robertson, for example, who had his best year last year. Played all 17 games and is all of a sudden maybe needed to step up to the number 2 role. And I can also say that too about Emmanuel Mosley, who I almost forgot about. We certainly don't want the version last year. We don't want the version where he played 5 games the year before, but the 5 games he did play, I'd take that. I'd take the 11 the year before, and I'd take what he did the year before. So all of these guys.
And Johnny Little in the Woodward Sports chat. Tom Kennedy is wide receiver too.
Okay.
So, we always got TK85.
Tom Kennedy did not have a catch last year.
Bring back Circus Kirkus.
Yeah, they knew the offense would be too powerful.
That's what it is.
They wanted to stay on course and not get too far ahead.
They couldn't scare the league that much.
They couldn't scare the league.
Secret weapon.
They're planning. They weren't going to win it last year. They're just they're just ramping up for a dynasty in which Tom Kennedy is the catalyst of it all. That's
the straw that stirs the drink.
Oh, the straw that stirs the drink. He's like Reggie Jackson in the New York Yankees.
Exactly.
The exact same.
Exact same.
No difference whatsoever.
Equivalent to a T.
Not even close. F Tom Kennedy. Didn't do jack.
Hey, relax.
I won the bet. I won the bet.
You did?
What was the bet?
That he gets a catch.
I won the bet.
A catch.
The over-under was
1.5.
0.5.
This is one regular season catch.
Nobody's more
for the season.
For the season.
That's crazy.
And for the record,
I mean that's a pretty solid bet.
He bet all 3. He bet me, D-Mac, and Neil.
Yep. And
yep.
and for the record, I am always very, very gracious, I would say, in victory. I don't brag. I didn't even accept the coffee.
Except for right now.
You're right.
Yeah, but
That's totally bragging right now.
Yeah,
No, he deserved it. That was a good bet.
I would say, but guys like Neil Rule and Darren McCarty, they never miss a chance to talk about all of my failings. So today, I get the spotlight for that Tom Kennedy bet. I was right.
There's a long list of failings, though.
Of course there are. When you do this for a living, you say a lot of wrong things.
Not me.
Okay, you've never said a wrong thing.
Go check the tape. I was right about Halliburton. I was right about Penei Sewell. I was right about Gibbs. I was right about Goff. I was right about Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Those are
what my Cade take has yet to be determined. We're still in the midst of my Cade take.
Yeah, so is your Ivy take, by the way. But you already claimed victory for that.
Well,
he's played like elephant shit the last 17 games.
Since who came back?
I mean, they can't play together. At this point, they can't play together.
And they win more with Ivy than they do with Cade.
What about Cade's rookie season in which they won 23 games? Nobody ever talks about that.
What, 3 years ago?
Nobody ever talks about that.
3 years ago?
There is more experience with Cade winning without Ivy than Ivy winning without Cade. That's all I'm saying.
I would love to. I mean, last year was without Cade.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
And Ivy was a rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a hell of a rookie year. He did. But one of them's got to go.
So we'll give Cade credit for his hell of a rookie year, but we're going to take it away from Ivy.
No, I didn't take it away from Ivy. I'm giving more credit for Cade.
Listen, Cade's a hell of a player. I wanted Cade at that number 1 overall pick. I'm rooting for Cade just as I root for all the Detroit sports teams. But I'll keep bringing it up. Stackhouse was the guy on the team, and they had to trade him to get better. And that's kind of how I feel about what Cade Cunningham is right now. Grant Hill was everything for the team. Best player we had by far. But when they traded him, they got better. And unfortunately, that's what the Pistons' history has shown me, that sometimes they'll come across these guys, but sometimes they got to move on from these guys.
Well, it's making a lot of assumptions that they're going to be able to put together a roster, with Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups and Tayshaun Prince.
But they didn't do it by holding on to their best player, is my point.
That's fine, but there were a lot of factors that go into it. Some of the Pistons narratives I hear are just so nuance free that it makes me wanna
See,
if I had to
Alan
haircut
W.
from Lady
Kate
Jane's.
is our franchise player, bro. What? I understand that Kate is. That's what I'm saying. So was Jerry Stackhouse, and so was Grant Hill. They had to move on from those guys to become the great teams that they became. It's just facts.
That is true.
I mean, yeah.
I love Cade, and I don't want to trade
I
him.
love Grant Hill. I love Stackhouse. When they traded Stackhouse, I didn't believe it when I got that call. Like, what? Why would they trade Jerry Stackhouse? But in the end, I was wrong, and Joe Dumars was right.
Yep. That's fine. That's fine. But you know what is never wrong? A haircut from Lady Jane's.
It is not. It's wicked awesome. Not only is it never wrong.
It is 100% wicked awesome. Oh, you have it?
Oh, here you go.
Hey, thank you.
I thought you were tossing it to me. There you go.
Oh, no, that's me. Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in and sit back and relax. And let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Every morning when you wake up, we want you to wake up with Woodward, Kool-Aid, Flannel Sam, and Broder, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on the Woodward Sports Network. KG in the booth too, JB in the other booth. It's a fun morning show. They get out in the public. You can see them at games. You can see them around town. Just stop by and give them a hug when you see them out wherever you are. Wake up Woodward, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday, right here on Woodward.
Welcome back to Big D Energy final segment of the day. I am Flannel Sam. We got Sam Sick Day filling in for Neil Rule and Darren McCarty. Be sure to watch the game for Oakland on Saturday night, but listen to Neil Rule on the call at the same time. We've got KG in the audio booth and Spencer Raxter in the TV booth. And Stick, you just have a new drink that is dedicated to your dog, one that I've met and we love.
Well, if you've been following Woodward Sports, you know that I was doing the initial morning show here. We had Detroit Dog Rescue in on Wednesdays, and we adopted dogs every single Wednesday right here, live on the air, and it was fantastic. Till one day they bring in this dog, and I said, that's my dog. No. Then nobody else can have this dog. He's my dog. His name is Woodward. I named him after the network. And now we have partnered with Detroit Dog Rescue for Woody's Whiskey. They are selling fifths of it at Benstein Liquor in Commerce right there on Benstein Road, 1050 Benstein Road. So go out there and grab yourself a bottle. There's Foddy. He's the guy that owns the liquor store, and I took Woody yesterday for a paw signing. He was doing little paw stamps on bottles for people when they were buying them. It's a really cool thing. The proceeds go to the Detroit Dog Rescue. They etched a picture of Woody in the back of it like that. It's all nice etching done on the bottle. So it's kind of a collector's edition. There's only like 100 of them out there. But, you know, go out there, and we did a nice fireside photo shoot this morning.
Yeah, Woody's the man.
Yeah, Woody is the man.
Great dog.
He's a Corgi and a Pit Bull mix.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's as big as he's going to get. He's 4 years old. I've had him 3 years now. And he's the best dog there is. Always happy, loves people, plays with other dogs, and he deserves to be on a bottle of whiskey. So if you're out in the Commerce area, please go grab one. If not, just call them and you can reserve one. And hell, I'll even bring it to you if you pay for it over the phone, because I want these bottles to move. I want Detroit Dog Rescue to get some extra money, because you know, this is the weather that they're out there saving dogs, like going to nasty places. The stuff they post on their social media is
great
insane.
people at Detroit Dog Rescue, too.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable people. And, like, Woody's from Atlanta. They got him. Kathy Bissell for Bissell Vacuums does a big thing. She rounded up a bunch of dogs in Atlanta. They took them to Grand Rapids, and then they shipped them over to Detroit Dog Rescue because they know it's a non-kill shelter, and they operate just off donations. It's pretty amazing, and we love our dogs. Every man needs a dog.
Damn right.
No, absolutely. The thing about Woody that I've always loved is he almost looks like a big, he has big dog features, but he's small.
Yeah.
He's one of the cutest dogs you've ever seen. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone quite like him, and the fact that he's immortalized and a Drake is absolutely phenomenal. And by the way, that liquor store is not that far from where I live. I might pop over there tomorrow. or
Please
Sunday.
do, man. Yeah, Fadi's like, man, we got people coming in for it, requesting it already, so it's really cool to see. And then I went and bought 12 bottles yesterday.
Yeah.
We got the basement stocked, boys.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is get a little buzz on before I take wifey out for a date. It always makes it start off a little bit better. I'll use some of Woody's whiskey. How could you not?
There you go. Get it loose. And Spenny, you got that other picture I sent you?
I do, yes.
If you haven't been out to opening day with us, this is just a little taste. I found this picture yesterday.
Yeah.
And there's Spenny chugging a beer, me rooting him on.
That's
I
a
believe
bottle of champagne.
that is a bottle of champagne. Well, it's early. Mimosas.
It's mimosas.
We're classy.
Yes,
we're classy. I believe that's DJ Danny D behind me, too. So,
shout out.
It's a packed tent party. Spenny's on stage. We're up there partying, pouring shots, having a good time. So make sure you come down to opening day.
It's always fun, man. Always fun.
You love me, don't get real, don't trust me.
And I bought this
Shout out
for opening
Spemo
day.
Rax. Shout out Spemo Rax. If you guys don't know, that is his song.
That is my song.
That is immortalized.
Oh, really? That's you rapping on that?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Hey,
Crazy.
you learn something new every day.
Oh man, we
got
gotta.
bars.
Can you perform it live?
Yeah.
Give me the full track.
Oh, for
I'll
sure.
have a DJ play it. You can perform
I
live.
got you.
All right.
Oh
I
my-
got multiple
So
songs.
you want to see a live Spenny performance?
Yeah.
Opening day
I
fest.
got you.
Wow.
I got
Hell
multiple
yeah.
songs.
I got multiple songs.
It's like my show.
It's
shout
not
out-
going to be a concert.
No,
it's just
no.
going to be a one-off.
Shout out
One-off.
to my boy Anton. My boy Anton is a actual music producer. He produces music for Cash Kid and Sada Baby
Nice.
and a lot of other Detroit rappers and stuff like that. And he is a legit ass music producer, and he's one of my best friends. And so one time we were in the basement just getting high, hanging out, and he was playing some of his throwaway tracks, and me and his brother were just bullshitting, freestyling on him. And he recorded us, and he mixed and mastered them into actual songs. And it was it's crazy how good he makes them sound.
No, man. I'm so glad that we're in the preliminary stages of making that happen on opening day, because I've always thought it's fire.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was you, but when I found out, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. Great intro for heavyweights, but you know what? I think that's about all the damage we can do on Big D Energy today. I think a lot of us are going to transition from this to watching a little tournament basketball, but you should also tune into Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, and the Woodward heavyweights from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. And for everyone else, just enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the NCAA tournament. We will see you next Monday on Big D Energy. I believe it is Neil Rules. Return back to the desk with me on the desk with them, Spenmo, Rax, and KG, as always. Until next time.
Well, before we get out of here, sorry,
Go
Sam.
ahead.
If you missed Fish,
Yes.
go back and watch
Yes.
the beginning of this episode.
Fish was back.
The legendary Fish was in the sound booth for a good 15 minutes to start this show. So if you missed Fish, you missed the banter, go back and check it out. I know a lot of the old school people miss Fish, and we love him around here.
Love Fish.
Legendary.
Shout out.
Legendary Fish spotting today.
How do you not? Peace.